Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate.
What's up, guys? This is the Til You Collapse Podcast. I'm Brian. I'm your host. We got an interesting one today. Me and my man Memo.
What's up?
Say hello.
Hello there.
Hello. What the fuck you been so sleepy for? You just fucking... What's going on, baby?
This is working. Working.
Yeah.
Working.
I know about it. The hustle.
Exactly.
It's tiring.
It is. Yeah. Especially when you set other priorities as well.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me about it. You're fucking preaching the choir.
I know. I'm well aware.
We're cut from the same cloth, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I hope you guys are doing good. It's been what? Did we release a podcast episode last week?
Yeah, it was early in the week.
We did last week.
Yeah. It was a quick one. It was like 15 minutes.
I mean, that's decent.
Yeah.
Hope all you guys are doing good out there. I mean, this world is kind of crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this world. Let's talk about this world for a second. Because I know we're going to talk about. We're going to do an interesting podcast today, guys. Something different. Hopefully it motivates you guys. And we'll tell you what we're going to do. But this world is fucking rough.
Yeah. It's only going to get it rough for our next year or so.
I know. It's crazy. And like... You know, I feel like a recession's already here. Obviously, it is. They're not talking about it, but as high as inflation has been, as much as people are struggling, it's rough, guys. It's rough out there. And the thing is, all you can control is what you do every day to make that money to pay for things that you need to. We all have necessities and we all have wants, but right now, it's time to really make sure your needs get taken care of, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, we've never seen anything like this. We've never seen anything like this the last few years with the pandemic and what they did and all that kind of shit. We've never seen that. And then now, with as much money as they printed and how much they pushed everything in such a short amount of time, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're all feeling it.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's feeling it at every single level. Obviously, the more successful you are and the more wealthy you are, you feel it less. But I promise you, those wealthy people that had a lot of money in stocks or a lot of money in crypto or a lot of money in real estate, they get hit hard too. They just have a lot of money in reserve, so like they're still okay.
Yeah. But
they're losing, the more you have, the more you lose, right?
Yeah.
The thing is like when you have less, you lose everything you have and you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there before. So all I can say about guys is with a few things, with who knows, like, and the thing is I just hear all this shit about it's funny because I talk about it and I've talked about it before. I just don't want to beat a dead horse. That's the thing is like everything that's going on with the pandemic and everything that they did to control us and all this kind of shit. Like, and now I hear about like in certain counties in California, they want to start making you wear masks again. Like, we're going to go back that way.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know.
I just don't get it.
I know.
And then that on top of this, like, I have one thing to say. It doesn't matter what times we're living in and what's going on around you. Like I said, you dictate your output every day. You dictate what happens every day. So I know that there's a lot of shit that's affecting us from the outside in, and it can get down on you. You can get down on yourself mentally, physically. It affects you. But I'm telling you, you got to just look at the goal in front of you, one foot in front of the other, one day at a time. That's what you focus on. Because it's easy to get sucked into like, oh, what's going to happen in 6 months? What's going to happen in a year? And stress and anxiety builds up. And I know a lot of people are wired that way. I'm not wired that way. I look at each day at a time. I look at each step at a time. All I can say is if you're struggling, I feel for you. I've been there. I've had nothing before. I've lost everything. So I know the feeling. All I can say is what I did to get out of it is I put in the work. And I stayed consistent, and I put my head down, and I didn't pay attention to anything outside of me, of my daily goals, and that's all I focused on. And as long as you wake up and you're breathing and you're grateful for it, at least you're alive, right? Mm-hmm. Everything else is materialistic. Like I talk about is your health, your family's health, your friend's health. If you at least have a little food on the table and you have a roof over your head, you're doing pretty good because a lot of people around don't even have that shit.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially with our 76% homeless rate in Sacramento. It's gone up like crazy, more than San Francisco now. homeless population. It's bigger than SF now.
76%?
It's like around 76%.
Are you making these numbers up?
Nope. I just read an article like yesterday about it.
What does that mean?
Like it went up in a sense from like 40% to like 70% like population wise.
So 70% of people are
No,
homeless.
like 70% of like California in a sense is all migrating here for some reason, somehow, in some way. Like we have more than San Francisco.
Oh, the homeless
Population.
is coming to.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not good.
No, not at all.
That's why I don't go down there much. You know, I stay up here in the country. You know?
Countryside.
But guys, like I said, get ready to weather the storm. It's coming. It's here. You look at real estate, there's crazy amount more properties on the market for sale. I mean, all the indicators are there. You know what you got to do? You know what the fucking solution is? Fucking work. You're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work smarter. You're going to have to work longer to maybe make the same amount of money as you've been making. That's the reality of it. Tough times make tougher people. It's crazy these times we're living in, but you get through these times, I swear to God, you'll be able to get through anything. At least that's what I believe. You know, and I've been through some tough times myself, but you know, we're already feeling the effects of this. We all do, myself included. But like I said, I'm harder. Ain't shit gonna fucking stop me. And the good thing about me is I fucking love this shit. Like, I'd rather be tested. I love the work. So like when things are easy and when everything's kind of going as planned and it's kind of like seamless, I almost get bored, you know? But now, like I'm alive, like the shit that we're doing here, the shit everywhere. It's just, you know, but I'm not normal. I'm a different breed. And a lot of you guys, I'm here to tell you guys too, one thing that I know you hear a lot about and we all hear, especially nowadays, is everybody wants to be an entrepreneur.
Just about, yeah.
Everybody. Like it's almost like the cool thing to do. And with social media, everyone's portraying it being so easy and so glamorous. This shit is not easy and it's not fucking glamorous. It's the hardest thing ever, and it's the grittiest, dirtiest thing ever. It's not fucking glamorous. I promise you that. If you knew what really went on, if you really knew how hard, if you really knew that you're the last one to eat, you're the last one to get fed in all aspects. Everything lands on your shoulders. And a lot of people do realize that, and they try entrepreneurship out, and they fail. That's why most quit after the first 5 months to a year. Just have some self-realization that maybe it's not for you, and maybe, you know, being a top employee at a company is for you. And find a company that you're something you're passionate about, and find a company that you believe in, and give your all into that. Because I guarantee my top people here are going to make more money eventually than a lot of even entrepreneurs make with their own company. So just think about it, guys. It's not for everybody. It's okay if it's not. You don't got to be an entrepreneur. You don't got to do what I do. You don't got to do what everyone does that you see on social media. That's their path. We all have our own path. Stop trying to copy other people and forge your own way. Yeah, you can look at people that are successful and emulate them and do similar things to them, but you got to make it your own. You got to forge your own path in this life. Right?
Yep, exactly. That's kind of my situation.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Dude, I've already told you. I'm not going to go into it.
You already did.
We've already done it multiple times. Like I said, you know, you have everything in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
It's on you to go get it.
Exactly.
And you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're 24 years old. So it's...
Day by day.
I try to remember when I was 24 years old. Fuck, that was so long ago. When I was 24 years old...
What, 16 years ago? Yeah? Because you're 40?
Yeah.
16 years ago?
What was I doing when I was 24? Fuck. When I was 24, I was... Were
you still here?
No. Still here.
Like, were you in Rockland
Yeah,
area?
I was in this area.
Okay.
I was in this area. I was... I had my first baby when I was 25.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So maybe I was getting ready for that. It was close to before I lost everything. So I think at that point I was still... that was before I went to CalFit and running the gym. So I think I was still training people then. I was still training people and bouncing then. That's what I was doing.
Gotcha.
And just broke. making peanuts, spending money like water, not even thinking about the future. When I was young, I had no guidance. I mean, my dad was an incredible father. He really, he taught me the basics, work ethic, stuff like that. But for me, like, I didn't listen a lot, he said. I mean, I took it and I heard it, but I didn't really follow it until I got older, and I kind of...
Came with maturity.
It came with maturity.
Yeah. I
had to make my own mistakes, basically.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So this podcast was an interesting one. We were rambling for a little bit. And I'm, like I said, I am extremely dialing back on my calories. So if you hear the long pauses, I'm very hungry. I'm not having any carbs, so I'm just a little slow. So please don't take it against me. But I'm just keeping it real. I'm doing it for myself. I'm trying to push myself. Now I'm 40 years old. I'm continuously trying to challenge myself in all areas because that's all we can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those of you out there that aren't challenging yourself, my question to you is why? Why aren't you challenging yourself? Why don't you challenge yourself physically? Why don't you challenge yourself mentally? In every area of your life, I mean, it makes you feel alive. And a lot of people don't, but we're trying to, anyone that listens to this or anybody that follows me, I hope you're the type that doesn't want to be normal. I hope you're striving and achieving for larger things and things that most people don't have, because that's the only way I got to where I'm at. I mean, you don't turn $300 into this by chance. It doesn't happen. It's not by chance.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about cars. Cars are something I always talk about. Memo loves cars as well, something we're passionate about. And I thought it may be interesting to go down the long list of cars. I know this is kind of weird, but as I do, I'll explain the cars and kind of what any kind of significance they have to me. But I just wanted to go down the list and talk to you guys about every single car that I've owned, because cars are such a passion of mine. I know some of you guys listening, cars are a passion of mine. And I just want to kind of go down the list of cars I've owned, what part of my life I was in, and maybe talk about little tidbits of what I was going through when I had that car. And also what I did to the car, because I modify all my cars. Nothing's ever stock for me. And Memo's going to do the same thing. So it's going to be an interesting podcast. Like I said, I know we talked about a little stuff before, but it's going to be cool. It's different and changing the game. If you want to listen to it, great. If you love cars, listen to it. If not, turn the fucking thing off. That's your choice. That's the great thing about this world and country, right? Mm-hmm. So Memo, we'll start with you, because I feel like your list is going to be smaller than mine.
A little bit small. Like, between the cars I've owned, between the cars I've driven, that's a lot.
Not driven.
Smaller, yeah.
Oh.
I only owned 3 so far.
Okay, let's hear.
And the first 2 were shit boxes.
Okay, I want to hear.
First car I ever got was a 2012. It was a Ford Focus SE. So the baseline bottom, it only cost me like $6,000 for that car. I had help with this, so I didn't even pay that much for it, honestly. But first car I ever had, 7 months later, it got slammed and got totaled, and I didn't have full coverage insurance.
Oh shit. Were you 16 at the time?
I know. I got the car when I was 19.
Okay.
Yeah, 19. And then after that, I had to get another car, so I bought a 2002 Chevy Impala for $2,000.
Ooh, 2002. That's not as cool as the old school Impala.
No, the thing was a piece of shit. It was a lemon.
Oh my god!
It broke down every other week. I'm a photographer, so I was driving to Stockton, to Napa all the time. Yeah. Car would break down halfway there. I'll miss my photo shoot, so I was hurting. I was in a bad spot. And then somehow, somewhere, I just kept on. I was just working the entire time. I kept on working and working and working. It was a good year. I had the car.
You guys hear that? Hold on, and we're gonna have little. There's gonna be little gold nuggets. We're not just talking about cars. We're talking about, like, regardless of the. Fuck! I told you guys I have no car.
Regardless of the situation I was in.
Regardless of the situation and what the fucking shit that comes up.
Yeah.
That's difficult. What's the word for that? I can't even think right now. Adversity.
Yeah.
Regardless of adversity, shit that came up, breaking down, shit car, this guy kept working. Mm-hmm. No other option.
It got to a point to where I had to rent a car every single week and pay money to do that and make more money on top of that in order to pay for it. Like, it got bad.
But that's...
Yeah.
What came from that?
Yeah. And then within, I want to say, a year and a half of having the car, I managed to save up around $4,000, enough to put down payment on a newer 2017 model car, which I have now.
Yeah?
And
What is that?
The 2017 Hyundai Elantra Sport.
Yeah, it's a pretty color blue, though.
That's a pretty color blue.
You look
Azula.
You look super cute driving around.
I know.
He said, I know.
Her name's Azula.
You fucking named her. I haven't done that. I don't name my car.
Hey, it's my first car that hasn't had any issues, so
Awesome.
I can't complain.
And did you do anything to these cars? Modify them? All stock? Or
The only thing I put was a custom air intake, and I did that the first month I got it.
on this car?
Yeah.
Cool.
Besides that, I had a warranty, so I was not going to fuck with it because I wanted to not spend more money than I had to already.
I got you.
But
so, as far as the future, you had a picture of your on your desk.
Oh, yeah.
A picture on your wall, kind of your little vision board.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
my goal car is not a dream car anymore. It's a goal car. Back when I was like a kid, like 17 years old, that was a dream car for me. Now it's a goal car is the 2019 Audi RS5, right?
Nice.
So pretty step up than having an Elantra.
Oh yeah. And like I said, guys, he went from a dream car to a goal car. It's up. You know, I empower everyone around here to create little vision boards next to their desk, put pictures of their goals. Anyone that comes to work here, I mean, I did that the first week or two you were here.
Yeah, the first thing he asked me.
You're like, what's this guy doing? They come here, I want to know what their goals are. I want to know what they're shooting for because I want them to get to those goals and I want to help them get to those goals. So we put it up, we print it out. It's up, printed right next to his face on the wall, covered it up by a monitor. But
It's still there. I can still see it. Yeah.
I'm excited. I think you're going to get that now in the next few months here. So, and that's part of being a leader is I want them to win as much as not more than me. And that's real. And as a leader, you're trying to lead people. If you don't feel like that about your people, you're never going to build something great. And it has to be genuine. It can't be fake. You know, a lot of leaders and CEOs and owners, they're only concerned about themselves, and employees are just numbers, and they're wondering why they're going through employees like nothing, and they never can get anyone to stay and get longevity. You have to truly care about them and focus on them, even more than yourself. And I've learned that, you know, over the time, you know, and that's, like I said, I'll be just as excited as me getting a car as when you get that car. I told you, like, I want to fucking barter them down. My Persian ass is going in and fucking put some pressure.
I'm just gonna let him do the whole deal for me.
I'm gonna do the whole thing for sure. So that's awesome. So I'm gonna go down a list, and I was trying to remember because it's weird because now that I'm 40 and I've been driving for so many years, my memory, it's crazy too because I'm so busy and I got so much shit going on. Sometimes it's like even me thinking back and trying to remember every little car because I wanted to be really detailed and talk about them all, and I don't want to take too much time. But so I'll start at the beginning. 16 years old, Brian. Okay. The first car I got, and it's a funny story. The first car I got was a 1988 Honda CRX.
Ooh.
And this is a funny story. The first CRX I got, you guys know it's a little two-seater, a super small Honda, 4-cylinder. I got it was like baby blue. It was like a periwinkle blue.
What, 110 horsepower?
And it was automatic, right? And I was like, bless you. Yeah, it was loud as hell. People sneezing up in here, coming up on the podcast. It was baby blue. And I was dead set on I wanted a manual car. It was automatic. I wanted to change gears. I learned to drive on a manual car. I wanted a manual car, and there was different, there's different models, and like there was an SI model, which is like the race
the sport
model.
version,
sport, which is 110 horsepower sport, whatever, versus 80 horsepower. So after having that for a couple months, I traded that for the SI model.
Yeah.
So I had an SI model. It was red. Stick shift, 5-speed, and it was the SI model, and I felt like hot shit in that last thing, bro. I lowered it. I put some, back then I think 16s, 15-inch rims. They were huge back then on the air intake, headers, exhaust, 15-inch subwoofer, and that little ass hatchback, like
rattling
homes. Like that was me, and this is back in when I was 16. This was back in 1997.
Yeah, year before I was born.
Yeah, 1997. I graduated in 2000. So back then, 15, little, you know what I mean? I was racing that thing around. I thought I was hot shit. Then I went from that from that car, and that car had a lot of significance for me. I mean, me and my buddies did a lot of work to that car ourselves. I modified it. I love that car. From that car, I went to Integra, Acura Integra.
Ooh, the older ones are nicer.
Acura
New ones
Integra.
suck.
No, yeah, Acura Integra, a GSR, which was like the race version. VTEC, revved like 8,000 RPM. I did the same thing with that car. Intake, headers, exhaust. Then I got a custom paint job, rims, lowered it. I turboed that car.
Oh, Jesus.
I turboed that car. And I had that car for a few years. That car actually got stolen out in front of one of my old houses where my roommates I lived with. That car got stolen. And that sucked.
Yeah.
That car was really fast. Like I said, anytime you turbocharge anything, like really modify it, it gets really fast. And then from there, my next car I had, the Nissan Zs when they first came out.
The 2000?
Like a 2003, I think.
Oh, okay. That's like when they first came out, yeah.
2003 is when they first brought it back, right?
Yeah.
And I got one, brand new.
Oh, wow.
And that car was cool. I got a stick shift. I got the track model. It was really nice. It was silver. And I modified the hell out of that. And that car, so the funny thing about that car, I had that car when I met my wife. I had that car basically right before I had my first baby. And right before I lost everything. So I had that car at 24, 25 years old. And when like you guys know my story, I got into the mortgage industry and I made like 20, 30, 40 grand in a month. More money than I've ever made. And I love modifying cars, and cars are my things. So I put so much money. I put like 30, 40 grand into this Nissan.
Jeez.
I modified that heavily. Built the engine, turbo, everything. This car had like 700 horsepower. It was crazy fast. It sounded crazy. It looked crazy. Heavy modified. I blew the engine in that car. Had to rebuild it. And just very stupid. Like I said, there was a stupid investment. Putting, at that age, if I would have put 30, 40 grand into real estate, or 30, 40, obviously that's before the crash, so that would have been dumb. I would have lost it anyways. I would have lost it anyways. But regardless, I could have put 20, 30 grand into a business. I wasn't thinking like that back then, guys. And the thing I tell you guys about this is like, the me you know and the me you see and the success you see, it's a very new and small portion of my life. It's from 31 years old is when I started this company. I'm 40. So the last 9 years of my life, I've done so much evolving as a person, as a leader, as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a business owner. This is all new. This is a small portion of my life. 1/4 of my life, basically. I'm trying to, make sure you guys realize that when you're listening to this shit, right? So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, your whole life can change in the span of 5 to 10 years, but it's going to take a shitload of work and a shitload of time. And the reality of it is a lot of people don't want to put in work without seeing the results. And it was hard when the first 4 to 5 years that I was grinding and I really wasn't seeing shit. That was hard. The hardest thing I've ever done. Because when you're putting in so much and you're living and breathing and bleeding and giving it your all and you're really not seeing anything come back, that's when you truly get tested. And that's what really separates the people that grow something and win and build something versus people that don't. And that's the truth behind it. And that's what I've done. So I had that car, and I remember, put so much money into it, and then, I have a baby coming, okay, we need a car, like, it was a 2-seater car. There's 2 seats, right? And then the next car I got from there was a Chrysler 300. The SRT8, which is like, it was the top model back then. They didn't have Hellcats or anything like that. You guys know these Chrysler 300s. They kind of look like, they're kind of cool because they look like the cheap version of Rolls Royces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought it was cool. But that car, modified that thing, lowered it, rims, exhaust, intake. The thing had like 400 something horsepower. It was fast. And then, I had that, and then I switched that for... That was my first American car I've ever had. Yeah,
you had all JDM cars first.
I had all JDMs. CRX SI, Integra, all modified. Nissan, American car, which I hated it compared to I was an import guy. It was decent, sounded cool, pretty fast, 405 horsepower, but it just wasn't me. So I went from that to a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution.
Oh.
Like the IX or whatever, stick shift, race version, the MR. If you know anything about cars, the MR is like the race stripped down version, very light, very fast, 6-speed. That car was a very rare color I found. This was like it was like a dark, like a darker blue that I found. It was a sick car. That car I loved. That thing was like zipping around. That thing was so loud and like I said, light, all-wheel drive. That car was fun. And that's the car I had that was repossessed from me when I lost everything. That's the car I had when I was, I have that darkest moment of my time that I've told you guys about. I'll never forget that car because that was the car that they took from me. And that was the car that when they took that, I didn't have a car. I didn't have any cars. My credit was ruined. I was broker than ever. This was about 26 years old. I had a 1-year-old baby and another baby on the way. And that's why I don't forget that car. And I went from that car to the next car I had. My dad always has my back. My dad gave me like a 1990 old school pimpin' Lexus, big body, Persian car,
probably.
LS 400. So a 4-door, early 90s Lexus LS 400, all gold.
Of course.
Persian gold, baby. And that was my next car I owned. And I like I said, it was a hand-me-down. I was the darkest, worst place in my life. And my dad gave me that car, handed it down to me. And I had that car. I mobbed that car around for a while. That was the car I had when I was at the gym. And I started working at CalFit. I started running their gyms. And I started, I worked my way up. You guys know, and that car was just not so me. It was like an old guy's car. It was an old Persian man's car. My dad is a fucking OG. The car wasn't me. Like, I was driving it. I was grateful and thankful for it. But when you drive something because you have to, but you don't want to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was young then. I was, and cars are my passion. Obviously, you see the cars and what I did to them up to that point, right? So I was grateful that I had something to get around, get to work, but I couldn't buy anything else. I was so broke. My credit was so ruined. And even though at the gym I started making more and more money, I started making, like I said, 6 figures, which is decent money. I could have got a decent car making 6 figures, but no, I couldn't. My credit was so ruined. And I had so much money that I owed everywhere that I couldn't get a car. So I drove that car for a good portion of my life. And then when we keep having kids, keep going. We had, my wife needed a bigger car. She had a 4-door Acura TL, which is 4 doors. And we had that up until about 2 kids. And I think right about when we're going to have our 3rd kid, okay, we need like an SUV, a small SUV or something. So she got a small SUV. At that point, we put it on her credit because her credit wasn't ruined. And then I obviously had money down payment. I was making decent money or whatnot, but we showed income that way. And then I got rid of the OG Lexus and I took over her TL. So I had a newer, it was like a 2004 white TL. It was a nice car, quick. It was pretty nice, decent. And that's what I drove. That's what I was driving. That and the Lexus are what I was driving when I started this company. I had people that remember me locally selling leggings and t-shirts out of my trunks. Old gold Lexus selling Til You Collapse t-shirts and tank tops and leggings. I've had people come here and say, I remember you selling me leggings. Literally, I'd meet people in gym parking lots. I'd do anything. Do what you have to do. And those are the cars I had. And then, as the company progressed and my credit got better, the next car I got after that, when I finally got my credit up to a point where I could buy a car, and the next car was a Cadillac. I got a Cadillac CTS-V. And that car was badass. That car, I wrapped that car. I did extensive mods to that car. That car had 700 horsepower. It was a really fun car. And that was, I literally went from 5-6 years of driving old hand-me-downs to, okay, here's a badass car, you know, that I modified that has 7 horsepower. And then a big milestone for me is when we had that year when we really took off as a business. And my old milestone car, which was a goal for me on my wall since I was a kid, was a Porsche 911 Turbo. And I remember I got that car. And that was like a huge goal for me. Like I said, as a kid, you have a poster and you dream. You go through all the adversity I went through. And I got that car. That car is awesome. It was a 2007, which I love that year of the Porsche Turbos. 2007, a 997, 6-speed, modified, tune, exhaust, body kit, rims, lower, everything modified that I deal with. And then I went from that. I had that car, and then the next car I had two cars at this point. I continued to grow the business and invest in the business. But like I said, guys, cars have always been my passion. That's been really the only thing I really spend money on that I did earlier. So another car I had 2 cars. I had that turbo Porsche, and then I got a new Cadillac CTS-V. So the newest version. It was like a 2019.
Okay.
So the newest body
Pretty
style,
yeah.
The same engine as the new Z06. Like that car was awesome. Modified that car as well was awesome. So I had those 2 cars for a while, and then I stepped up as the business continued to grow. I stepped up from those 2 cars, and from those 2 cars, I got the Rolls-Royce Wraith, which that car was pimping. That was a gold car. You know, having this
car.
You know that car. You see all the rappers and the stars in the ceiling. That car's a fucking G-Ride. I mean, that car's dope. Definitely people were like, what the fuck is going on? They think you're a drug dealer. They're like, especially when you're younger and you have a car like that. They're like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? But it was, I dropped that thing on some big-ass rims, lowered rims. That's really all you do that car. You don't do much now. And that thing was like driving a boat. It was cool. I reached that goal. But that thing's like a boat on wheels. It's like a cloud, the most comfortable thing you ever seen. But me, I like speed, I like performance. Yeah, it was pimping, but I couldn't stand driving it. I just was bored by it. And then I had that car, and then with that car, I got the try not to forget any. I told you guys, the memory goes. I'm trying to be as detailed as possible. I got the Audi RS8. The R8.
R8, yeah.
R8. Audi R8 V10 Plus. Which that car was lowered rims, body kit, exhaust. That car was so loud, and the mid-engine right behind your ear. That car was sick. That was like a go-kart. That's probably the best handling car I've owned so far as just like felt planted, all-wheel drive. That car was sick. I actually do miss that car. And then I got a Raptor truck.
You got a Ford Raptor?
I had a Ford Raptor truck. I had a Ford Raptor truck for a little while. I modified that. That had an intake and exhaust.
The V8 EcoBoost?
No, it was their V6s, the new ones.
The V6 with EcoBoost?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the V6s.
The old ones were V8s.
The old ones were all motor V8s.
Yeah.
The new body styles, the EcoBoost.
Okay.
They have a new one coming out, which is Raptor R, that looks sick. It's going to be a V8 supercharged. 7 horsepower. That looks sick. So I had that. I'm like, fuck it. I'm not a truck guy. I tried it. I can't stand this shit. I'm not a truck guy. Then I'm pretty sure that brings us to the cars I have now. Fuck, I'm not trying to. It's hard for me to remember this shit. And I'm blessed. I'm grateful. Like I said, I'm not trying to flex. I'm just talking about cars. I'm telling you guys stories with all the cars, right? I have that, my Mercedes.
That one you got first?
That's the Mercedes I drove today.
That's the one you got first?
The AMG GT63S. That's highly modified. Rims, intake, downpipes, tune, exhaust. That car's fun. I still have that car. I love it. I have I got the F12, the Ferrari F12, which is highly modified as well. There's like 200 grand put in that car.
That thing's crazy.
That thing is, yeah.
That thing is crazy.
Yeah, you've ridden in it. And that car is just one of a kind. And then I have the Lamborghini Urus too. I'm pretty sure that's the whole, and that thing's highly modified. Rims, lowered, exhaust, downpipes, tunes. I can't leave anything stock. You modify cars, you kind of make them your own, and they're a lot more fun.
More personable.
Yeah, personal. The sound, the the speed, everything, and I'm pretty sure that's everything. But and I'm grateful and blessed because the cars I've owned in my lifetime are sometimes cars that no one ever owns. I mean, to own a Lamborghini or Ferrari at the same time, there's something to be said about that, especially when you earn it, you know what I mean, and you qualify it on your own, you pay for it on your own, and all that kind of stuff. It's I'm proud of it. I've earned that shit. No one can take that from me. And it's something as a kid I set my mind to. I wanted to drive Porsches. I wanted to drive Lamborghinis. I wanted to drive Ferraris. And as a kid, it's hard to realize what it really takes to get there, because 10 years to get here. And like I said, and I've told you guys, and I tell you, and I'm open, like right now, it's harder than it's been in a long time. The last few years through COVID and our business is being affected. You got to figure a lot of our customers are middle class, people that had $1,000 extra a month. Everybody, so many people live paycheck to paycheck. That's how most people live. And when you live paycheck to paycheck, and then overnight, your bills get increased 15%, and your income doesn't get increased, what happens?
You lose money.
Yeah.
You lose on money.
So, I mean, they don't have free money to spend on leggings and free, all this kind of stuff. And all the businesses are feeling it. And it's just about adapting. And it's about overcoming. And it's being creative. And it's not giving up. And it's keep going. Mm-hmm. And I'm fired up. And the shit we're doing here and the shit we have planned, we have no option but to win. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad these difficult times are here, because difficult times make hard people. And they really test people. And, back in the day, like 5-6 years ago, I mean, I don't want to say it was easy, because it's definitely not easy to start a company and be successful. But with social media and how cheap and successful ads were and everything, how you could really put the fuel in the fire and it could explode, it was very feasible for a lot of people if you worked and you had the right blueprint. But nowadays, this shit's harder than ever. So it's really going to test a lot of people. And I want you guys all to win. But I'm here to tell you, it's going to be hard. It's going to test you. And I hope you make it through. And it will make it through if you make it through. You will be the deciding factor. How you pivot, how you adjust, how creative you are, how smart you are with your finances, where you allocate your money. That will all determine if you get through these crazy times or not. And it is what it is, guys. Like I said, we're here. We can't really do anything about it other than show up every day and put our best foot forward. Give our best effort. Give our best attitude. Be positive. That's all we can do. At least we're living and breathing. And that's really all I got for this podcast. It was kind of a different one. Yeah. But now you heard some cards you probably didn't even know that I owned. Huh? I'm trying to think.
The JDM cards got me. I like those.
Well, I'm a big JDM guy. That's who I was. And eventually, I'd like to own more. I'm a big
Skyline GTR.
I'm a big '90s JDM. Those are all I wanted all those. The Supra, the RX-7, the 300,
the one that everybody wants.
The 300ZX, all those turbo cars. Mm-hmm. I wanted all those. I still do, but now you look at them, like the NSX, the old NSX. Mm-hmm. I wanted all those, but it's hard because those things are crazy expensive nowadays.
Their prices go up now. Yeah,
they're crazy expensive.
I know.
So, hopefully you guys like this podcast. Hopefully it was interesting for you guys to listen about the cars and that kind of thing. I did that hopefully to motivate you and also to give you insight of what I've owned and when I've owned them and what kind of impact they had on my life. But go out there and win. Go out there and be positive. Go out there and bring good energy to the world every day that you're here, because we need more of it. You know what I mean? Be nice to people. There's just so much negativity and shit out there, but hopefully you guys share this show. We really want to grow this show. Please email us or DM us if there's anything you want to hear on the podcast. We're trying to do at least one a week. We're trying to bring value. I want you to get something from it. Memo, you got anything to add?
No, it's just cool to know how long that takes to have all those cars over a long period of time.
Yeah.
It's not just one moment. It's the last 20 years of your life has been like that.
Yeah, and they all had a meaning for me. And like I said, good times and bad times. Mm-hmm. And like I said, here's the thing, guys. I'm genuinely real and who I am in real life. And these cars are great, but I don't give a fuck about the cars. If I had to, and I've said it before, if it ever gets to a point where And the cars are expensive. Like I have 4 cars right now, and all 4 of my cars are worth more than $1 million. Like that's expensive. I don't need those. I want those. And yeah, times are getting tough. It's probably, it probably would be smart to sell some cars. And like I said, I don't need to sell them. And also, it's harder to sell cars like that as the market gets difficult and recessions happen. People aren't buying cars like that.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just a reality. And I try to keep it real. But bottom line, if I had to sell every single one of my cars to keep this company going and to keep my man Memo here employed and to keep Katie and Bree employed and to keep this company going, I don't give a fuck about my status and who I am. I will drive a fucking 95 Accord if I have to, and I'll be proud of it, and we'll make videos driving in that. You best believe it. I'm not too proud, and I'm not that guy that's who I am, and I'm trying to put on a facade because I've had nothing before. That's who I still am, and I'll go right back there if it means being successful and doing what it takes to keep this thing going, to get through these times and come out the other end. Not that we're there, and I'm not planning on getting there, but just to be clear, if it needs to be, it needs to happen.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is crazy because some people, I've heard of people like literally where they're worried of keeping that facade where people think they're successful, they're looking successful, and they're literally broke as shit, living paycheck to paycheck, driving a Lambo or Ferrari where they literally have nothing in the bank, they're barely paying for it, and then their company goes under or they fire all their employees, but they're still living this lavish life. Like, motherfucker, if you're going to live a life like that, all your people better be eating and happy and successful, and you better be in a good place if you're going to be portraying that. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel. Yeah. But a lot of people aren't like that. So, just in case you guys are wondering, I don't know why I went on that tangent. But I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you get something from this podcast. Let us know what you think. Appreciate you guys. We're out.
Pull up in motorcades. I got a show today. It's all I'm trying to do. Hustle and motivate.